see the thumbs up yet in the control room. Okay.
It's hard to see with the lights.
Yeah. There are 4 lights. Da, 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 da. I'm here all week. We're also trying to get a YouTube stream going, so that's what this is. Could I get a helper? We're starting 15 minutes late, and we also want to leave some time for questions. So I do have a clock there, but if I could get someone to, yeah, thank you, Zahid. Oh, okay. All right. Well, hi, everybody. We have the most boring looking intro slide, but we're going to attempt to be super interesting with this. My name's Andrea Capere. I'm the Director of Community Relations at Thurston Community Media in Olympia, Washington.
And I'm Dan Jones with North America Talk.
And if you're not familiar with North America Talk, they have a variety of outlets that are local, and North America Talk is this umbrella organization. So we're going to talk to you today about how community media centers can diversify their revenue through these alternative streams. And one project that we've been working on is the shared effort of a community channel between Thurston Community Media and North America Talk. So this is what we're going to go over today. We're going to talk a little bit about TCMedia and Thurston Talk. We're going to talk about the North America Talk product. We're going to talk about our pilot project, and then also open it up for questions about how this might be useful to community media centers.
Thanks, Andrea. Thank you for having me here today. Again, my name is Dan Jones. I am the founder and CEO of North America Talk. We currently run 7 digitally based media companies in Western Washington, and also our newest property in the Astoria, Oregon area, Clatsop News. The first speaker talked about just the gaps that were being created with the traditional media of stories not being told. And my background is engineering. I owned an IT company, and I saw that opportunity emerging, and I decided to jump into it in a for-profit model. And we'll speak more about that. But today, I have about 135 team members that span the Western Washington market, and our headquarters is located in Olympia, Washington. So the top line is the board of directors and founders of the organization. We look at ourselves as digital media innovators. Everything we do is focused on mobile devices. All of our content is highly shareable, and we really are telling community-based stories, right? And I'll get into that more. Again, my background is engineering and technology. And when I owned an internet service provider, I was spending time with the economic development councils in some of these rural areas, and I watched all of the internet traffic leaving these communities, right? So people would jump online, and they were leaving the communities for entertainment, education, whatever it may have been for. And about that same time, I saw on, Channel 4, Channel 5, Johnny's Little Heroes. And I saw these little kids crashing into each other playing football, and I thought, I will stick around and watch some advertising to watch these kids run around and crash into each other. And I thought, why can't I create a business model where we represent what it's truly like to live, work, and play in the communities that we're in? So I started in on that about 15 years ago, laying the foundation for that, before there was social media. And at that point, I realized it's going to be difficult to have a website and get it out there, right, to be found. And then when we started seeing the social media platforms evolving, It was like, okay, this is the time. Now that was during the recession, 2007, 2008. So we kept our product in our back pocket until October of 2010. So in October of 2010, we launched what we call our community social network. You know, people would say, are you a website? Are you a newspaper? Are you radio? And we say, no, we are a community social network. We're open to all, and our brand is an acquaintance to the community. And there are 3 pillars to what we create, what our community social network represents. So on the left, we have our users. 70% of our users are mobile users. That would be much higher. However, the consumption of our content peaks while people are at work figuring out what they're going to do in their communities. And they're on a desktop when they're doing that. Our brand, our organization strives for our brand to be an acquaintance to the community. And some of the feedback we've heard are things like, it knits the fabric of my community tighter around us. So that's the first pillar of our community social network. The second pillar is our community content creators. These are individuals, paid professionals, that live, work, and play in the communities that they're writing about. The third pillar, and the one that I've heard all of us talking about at some level, is our community social graph, which allows us to generate revenue. So we're able to take all of the statistics for how a piece of content traversed social, web, whatever paths it may have taken. We grab that information, we aggregate it back, and we present that to our marketers so they can make better buying decisions for that local community. And what we've seen across all of Western Washington is that each community is definitely unique as to what content goes well and what content is highly shareable. So our marketers describe our product as one where we can connect real dollars spent to the value that they're getting from us. And that has allowed us to have a really high retention rate on our customers. And our organization, our customers sign up for year-long contracts, so we have recurring revenue. What does our audience look like? With the media companies that we've created, our audience looks like this. They're all on cell phones, at least 70% of them, and they're out doing things. How do we know this? We can look at the back-end statistics of our website and see what sort of search terms are coming in. You know, where do I go? In Olympia, I just saw a search term in our Thurston Talk property of where's the closest beach to Olympia, Washington, right? So these are individuals who are out moving and traversing around the community. Therefore, they're out spending money, and our advertisers and marketers like that. So the audience that we have created has a bell curve at the top end of it's 34, 35-year-old individuals, 70% female. We find that the females are much more active in the social media world. And our tagline for our marketers is reach this audience, grow your brand, and measure the results. That's our product.
So I think you're sitting here and you're like, okay, but how does this relate to community media? You just heard a talk about this, this commercial product. And I want to share with you, we are a nonprofit organization. We're a public educational and government access television station, and we have some of the same limitations that you do in terms of we have these cable channels, we cannot commercialize them. We're limited in the ways that we can get funding for ourselves. So rather than me tell you all about TCMedia, I want to show you a video. It's about 2.5 minutes long. And it's a little dated, our old studio's in it, but it'll give you some perspective.
As an elected official, TCMedia is an essential tool to help keep me informed, not only on what's happening in my community, but regionally as well.
We're a public educational and governmental cable network in Thurston County, Washington. Our program schedule includes everything from government meetings to talk shows and live community events to digital stories. We're seen on 4 local cable channels on 2 different cable systems. Community productions include parades, graduations, a monthly talk show that features nonprofits, a quarterly program featuring the local school superintendents, candidate forums with the League of Women Voters, and so much more.
Now, just over here at Priest Point Park, you can just see the canoes coming in.
Hello? Hey, it's Quimby! I thought we could film some Big Bang today.
I don't know if we can.
iTalk 2016! Woo!
I am a peacock.
TCTV also offers training and equipment so members of the community can produce programs to air on our public access channel.
Tea Time in Olympia is a show about LGBT issues with a primary focus on the tea aspect of LGBT.
Karaokeoli is a monthly show here at TCMedia.
We invite everybody from the community to come sing on live TV.
The Fellowship of Reconciliation is very multi-issue. We work on peace, social justice, human rights, community-based issues, environment, economic justice, all kinds of things.
It's a warm environment. It's a fun time. It's a good time. It's tons of help. People are willing to help. I've made really great friends. And of course, love the free coffee. And often there's treats.
You can always count on an informative instructor. And they're very helpful and willing to get hands-on. They'll have the equipment here for you. They'll show you what buttons to push and what dials to turn. And
Olympia is the capital city of Washington State, but we have no broadcast stations. The closest is 60 miles away in Seattle. We've come a long way from our humble beginnings 29 years ago as a single cable channel with a tiny studio space. And we plan to continue to air innovative programming that strengthens our community for years to come.
Join us, become a member, take classes, and make media. Visit our website at tcmedia.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat.
So that's us. And so we turned 31 last year. So this is a little dated. So what's the issue here? So we have a sorry, I don't know how to operate technology, apparently. Stop it. Go away. Help. All right, what's the problem? Like you heard Deb say, we're 60 miles away from a major network affiliate, so we don't have a whole lot of coverage of local issues. Our local newspaper, The Olympian, was purchased by McClatchy a few years ago. So it and the Tacoma News Tribune primarily bring in AP content and, do a few Seattle-based stories a day. It keeps getting thinner. And, as Dan said, we have people online looking for events in our community. So our audiences are relying on online over-the-top services like Roku, Netflix, Hulu. And another issue is that Thurston Community Media, for better or for worse, is the best kept secret in Thurston County. And that is something that we're trying to change. And so having this partnership with Thurston Talk has allowed people to see some of the good that we're bringing in, that we're sharing with the community. And this is the project that we've been working on, this community channels piece. Thurston Talk provides the text base. They assign a writer to a story that we share, and then we provide the video. Our first piece with this was Mission Nonprofit. Mission Nonprofit is a half-hour studio talk show where we invite an organization, a nonprofit or a local government agency to come in and talk about the work that they're doing in our community. And I'm going to full screen this because this looks a little funny. Or I won't. I'll just give up. But so Mission Nonprofit also is staffed entirely by students and volunteers. That's how we're able to provide this 30-minute studio talk show for free to government agencies and organizations and share the work that they're doing. And these profiles of nonprofit organizations was something that Dan and his team were already providing to the community. So we said, why reinvent the wheel? We're already creating this content. Why don't we share it with Thurston Talk? And so here are the deliverables. TC Media provides 3 video projects. That's the full episode, an excerpt, and a roll-in. And that's sort of a behind the scenes, this is what the organization looks like, this is what they're doing on the ground. And then those 3 videos are provided to Thurston Talk. In exchange, we give acknowledgement on our channels through thank you videos. And of course, the support for Mission Nonprofit is provided by Thurston Talk. They have access to 65,000 cable connected homes. We get the support from Thurston Talk by way of their staff writer and underwriting support for this program, which has been huge. And we wrestled with this, like how do we work out this concept of partnering with local businesses? And that's where this business circle partnership came about. Similar to PBS or NPR, this is underwriting that we are soliciting our local business community for. And this is what it looks like. Do you want to talk a little bit about the development of this?
Yeah, definitely. You know, as Andrea mentioned, our organization, we see that if we're good community members in a digital world, that the community will rally around that. It was mentioned earlier about creating deeper stories. And so one of the, in Thurston County, you know, being able to profile nonprofits, and for us, it was not a revenue generating opportunity, it's just being a good community member. And so every month we were dedicating time to write about nonprofit organizations. And we would get phone calls and feedback of, hey, thank you so much. We just received more donations when this went live. The recent one I heard was down in Clark County. So in the Vancouver market, we received feedback of additional donations when their article went live. And so Andrea and I started collaborating on, hey, we also are already doing these profiles on nonprofits. Why not bring those 2 products together? We today have been doing very little video-based content. Our stuff is very text-based and visual through photography. So to have the opportunity to take a nonprofit and profile them in a text world, it also allows that nonprofit for, let's say, those 2 weeks that it takes to create the content to get their team together and do it all at once, right? Do the video side, get the articles written, get the photography done, and create an article that gets distributed now on many different platforms. And I believe on our first collaboration, TCTV saw a 10x increase in viewership on that particular video that was embedded in the article. And then we also see additional increase in views to our website because of the channels and distribution that they're providing for us. So it's a really good collaboration for all the stakeholders in the community.
And I want to dovetail really cool. on that piece of viewership. A lot of us are challenged by the fact that we cannot tell someone who's watching, when they're watching, how many people are watching. All we can say is how many cable connected homes we are reaching based on subscribership. So to be able to have those metrics that Dan provides has been really powerful for us in terms of demonstrating community value.
Yeah, and from a product development standpoint, our organization specifically called that drop down community channels, right? We see everything moving into the IP-based world, the internet protocol, and so however the content gets to a mobile device, people are still thinking about the word channels. And so we actually monetize all of those different channels that you see listed there at different ways and different levels. But just from a marketing standpoint, the word channel, people love the word channel.
And this is what it looks like for us. We have our channel. We've embedded this fabulous 6-minute documentary that one of our interns created, just about the behind the scenes at TC Media, a description of the work that we've done. And if you could scroll down, which you can't because that's a screenshot, you could see all the content that we've created in collaboration with Thurston Talk. And sometimes it's not something like, it's not an assigned writer. Sometimes it's, oh, hey, we covered the procession of the species, here's a blurb. And that's for those who don't know, that's a big event. It's a parade throughout our community. It's huge. Or the superintendent's roundtable. So think of all of those parents and stakeholders involved in our K-12 system in Thurston County. They may not be subscribing to our YouTube channel, but if they're looking on Thurston Talk, they'll also see our content. So I had mentioned to you the business circle, and this is just a couple screenshots of our brochure, but this is how we've sort of broken out the types of marketing support that we are capable of providing without sacrificing our values as a non-commercial outlet. And the reason this is up here is because I want to show you what's next in terms of diversifying this revenue, and maybe what's next between Thurston Talk and Thurston Community Media. We have these levels where, you can receive marketing support through our email blasts or your logo on our website, or for a gold member, you could get your logo and a blurb in our rotator on our website. This is a little dated because I think for platinum members you can receive your logo on the side of our production truck. But I think when we're looking at reaching a potential client for marketing support, we want to be able to say to that person, you can not only access Thurston Community Media's channels and our audience, but you can also access the marketing support, the banner ads, those sorts of things on Thurston Talk. And we're really excited about our Roku channel. We do have a Roku channel, so if you have one at home, highly recommend going to the channel store and adding Thurston Community Media. And I just want to point out Andrew Ebright, he's the one that handles our file uploads. So if you do have some questions about how that's worked out for us, please talk to him. I also worked in some of the infancy of this and developing this channel through the Instant TV channel tool that's free. But this provides another opportunity for revenue diversification. There's no mandate in our franchise agreement that we can't commercialize this channel. We could add banner ads, we could add video ads even, and this could also be a means of Thurston Talk accessing this to generate interest in this local resource.
It's me.
Yeah, it's you.
So, thank you again for this collaboration. It's been wonderful, and these three tools right here represent our organization's intellectual property that we've used to create community media in areas. Let's say we had an organization out in Grace Harbor who they were having trouble attracting doctors to the community. The press, the news that they were receiving was only when there was issues, right? And so the local newspaper had moved to more shock and awe sort of reporting, and it created a situation where businesses in that community were having a hard time recruiting doctors and resources into the community. And that was one of the catalysts that you put together and go, well, we can create something. Now we have to figure out how to support it through revenue. And that's where we came in. And that community actually rallied around our community social network product. And they wanted and they brought it to the community for a recruitment tool, for economic development, for staff recruitment. And so that was a very exciting thing to watch happen. But so we have these three, aspects of our business, which are the community social graph, which really is our community content engine. And we have a digital system set up to manage all of our content creators, comes into our publishing organization, goes through processes before everything gets published, and that's what creates our community social network. We have our integrated branding platform, which is how our content traverses and the opportunity on how we explain to our customers the value that they're getting from our content. Not only do you have the largest distribution network in, let's say, Thurston County, by about 30% over, let's say, the McClatchy organization that Andrea mentioned. And then we also have the ability to measure that content, measure the results. And not only, sometimes, let's say, content may not do as well as one would think. However, it may not be shared as much. It may not appear to be interacted as much in an online world when we look at it in Facebook or Twitter, wherever it may be setting. However, if you look at the back-end statistics on what was read on the website, it might be very high. And so creating shareable content versus highly read content, there's a difference in the concepts and how you put those marketing plans together. And that's been something that has been very interesting to watch on the statistics side of each community, how they're different, and what appeals to the audiences in those communities. So right now, what we are working on, we have 7 community social networks thus far that we've built over the last 7 years. We have 250 locations identified across the US that we are actively working to deploy community social networks in. We see this opportunity as a $500 million a year industry. And this is the industry that all of us are working within, right? It's at its infancy stages. Community media is starting to become sexy. When I was initially 7 years ago walking around saying, this is what I'm going to do in Thurston County, people are like, yeah, good luck, Dan, right? And we've been able to create a repeatable, successful, and scalable model now. We've invested millions of dollars into our platform to be able to monetize this and be able to have a foundation. But this is the opportunity that we've created and that we're going after. And it's been 7 years now, and we thought the window of opportunity would be closing from a business perspective. We're not seeing that. The business opportunity is still there. And I think all of us have that opportunity to capitalize on in one way or another. So if there's a location that you have where you could see where we could partner on something similar to what we're working with Andrea and her organization, I'd love to speak with you.
Right. And that's it. We'd love to hear any questions you have.
35 minutes.
Thank you. I think we've got 15 minutes for questions.
So how do you, mainly is for Andrea, how do you identify, we're limited, as you are, in our radio, monetary, support where, we're not allowed to do advertising, direct advertising. And how do you identify, I guess, when you were showing your slides previous to having a partnership, those opportunities that, you're now identifying,
Well, I think what we need to emphasize when we're talking to any potential partner, underwriter, client is that the resources that we have as community media centers, as low power FM, as community radio, that's valuable. These are organizations that have built trust in their communities. So, of course, we're fortunate in that we know the subscribership in Thurston County on Comcast. And okay, well, you're low power FM, so you do have some different challenges. But if you have a sense of what your listenership is, in terms of demographics, age, how many there are, what communities they're a part of, that's going to be valuable to a potential underwriter. And so it's similar to, you know, NPR or PBS, where you have these spots that are not directly making an ask of go buy this product now, but simply raising awareness of the product or service by saying support provided by. That is how we share that information of that local business without sacrificing our non-commercial values.
I think it's a matter of just making sure there's no call to action.
Yeah.
As far as buy it.
Yeah.
And so do you find that it's different with television media versus radio? I mean,
well, you do have different modes of accessing the information. On television, people tune in, they're sitting down in their living rooms, and we're also noticing that there is this not a mass exodus from that model of appointment television, but the reality is people are watching on mobile and for an average of 20 minutes during their commute or while they're waiting for something or while they're in bed watching their phone. So we need to be able to access those audiences. And that is a highly immersive activity to watch video. You can't do that while you're driving. That's the benefit to radio. If you have a powerful enough transmitter, people are listening to you on your commute. If you're a low power FM station, you're really relying on your grassroots, really devoted audience. And those smaller communities are more rabid fans, so to speak, and building those relationships in that community is crucial to getting that content listened to. Hi.
Hello, I'm Sonia from Columbia Network in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And we're going through a similar issue, not being able to share our metrics when we go to funders and say, hey, we want to do this, and they're like, well, how many people are watching you? All we know is our cable subscribership, and we can't track that. So how do you guys work together to say, do you work monthly, weekly? How do you give them information based on how people are coming through your site?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's a question about statistics. So we run on a 30-day cycle for our statistics. And the reason we do, I mean, you can get it live, but the reason we do that is people are consuming the content that we're collaborating on all the time. So there may be 10,000 views, then there's 15,000, and this content is out there for the long run. And so we report back on a 30-day cycle to anybody who wants those statistics. That's what we do as our organization.
And I think there are other ways that you can demonstrate value to funders. We can share with a grant funding organization or a partner that's interested in supporting a program how many members we serve each year, how many donors we have, how many children have attended our youth media camps, how many hours of original programming we're producing on 4 cable channels, how many cable connected homes are we reaching, how many media education courses we taught, how many adults came in and received high quality digital literacy training. Those are the sorts of metrics that are valuable to grant funders that are outside of, well, who's watching? Because really, what is the need that we're serving? What is our purpose for being here? It's not, so we have a cable channel to populate with content. It's so we can serve our community.
And then, do you on your site have other community networks that we can see, or is it just you guys just partner together and all I can see is your stuff? Like, can I see other?
Yeah, we could bring up Thurston Talk, or do you have another community channel you want to bring up?
I'm just wondering, like on your platform, if I go to it, do I search Thurston, Talk, or do I see like a list of all different 250 whatever you have connected with you? How do you?
Sure. So each community has its own brand. So we have 250 different brands. Right now, 7 of them are live. And we are looking for a brand that'll appeal to 250,000 to 500,000 individuals is kind of the sweet spot that we see. So this property right here, this community social network, is specific to the Olympia, Washington market, expanding to the whole county. And so Thurston is the name of the county. So it's Thurston County. And that's been one of our strategies for rollout, is grab the county name and then add the word talk behind it. Yes?
How big is Thurston? How big is it?
Thurston County has about 255,000 individuals living in it. But we also, like, say, are in the Pierce County market, Tacoma, Washington, and it's around 850,000 individuals. Bellingham is about 215,000. So, anywhere in that range. We also, out in Grace Harbor County, there's 75,000 individuals, and we have a very nice business out there. And then if you go to, like, say, the community channels, that's where the drop down is of all of our different breakouts. And those are actually what we've done from a business standpoint is we sell those as exclusive. So if you are in the health and wellness category, we sell that as an exclusivity, and you're the only one that can be on that channel. And then all of the content that's created by us or content that's created by other individuals can go on that channel. And that's really good for the SEO search engine world at a local level, capturing local eyeballs.
Yeah.
How is this making money for Thurston community? Yeah.
What's that?
How is that making money for you? Where are you getting the extra revenue from?
Well, Thurston Talk underwrites mission nonprofit.
Okay, so that's it. So that the advertising that you sell benefits you, but then you underwrite.
Yeah, and we have decided to not create any revenue off of the content that we create in collaboration with Andrea and her team. So those pieces of content are us donating back to the community to assist nonprofits.
And that was how we could make it work.
Yeah.
So it's not direct advertising.
It's not, and we cannot do business with, we can't do video production for businesses. So that is how we made this partnership work.
Our core values align so well with Andrea's organization. Support the community, give a voice to the community, and that's what our community talkers are all about. The 130 plus individuals that we have in Western Washington, those are individuals who are telling stories, in-depth stories from their heart, right? And that's the reason that people are coming to consume this information. And we see long-term, we're building a brand. We're building a brand that people can step back, and whether they're in the community, they go off to college, they can go back to the brand and say, I just reconnected where I live with the location that I live, work, and play. This really represents where I live. If you think about it, there's not a lot of media organizations out there or brands that truly represent what it's like to be in that community. A lot of them are like, hey, here's what happened yesterday. And it's like, okay, that happened, but that's not where I live, right? And so another organization that supports our talk platforms a lot is like the tourism organizations, because they know they can send people to our digital platform, and it may be that clam digging was their interest on getting them there. And it's like, well, but look at all these other things that are going on, and that creates a tourist into that market.
Yeah.
So how do you safeguard for future generations your values as not as a profit organization?
Yeah.
How do you make sure that the next generation doesn't just say, well, we're done with this, or, well, we want to see if we can monetize this better for our use? Or...
Right. That is a really, really good question. How do you maintain the integrity of being a community social network that truly represents what it's like to live, work, and play in a community, right? I have distributed the power. We were talking earlier about the power of media, right? So I don't see myself or anybody in our organization as being the power of the organization. I see the power of our organization as being those content creators in the community. And that really is what makes us successful as an organization. There are organizations out there who have looked to partner with us that have different views. They don't want to represent the entire community. And those are organizations that we have not worked with. So how do you maintain that long term? I believe that we've put in organizational systems that should maintain and move forward with that. If I get hit by a bus on the way home, I believe that our organization would continue to do what we're doing, especially because it's working. I think that some of these other local media organizations, they have declining revenue, declining brand recognition, and they're doing everything they can to create shock and awe. And we have created a vision of we want to be around for hundreds of years, and we just simply want to represent what it's like to be in these communities. So organizationally, I believe we're set up to support long-term strategies of being a community social network.
And,
good question.
And from a nonprofit perspective, I mean, certainly we have these actual constraints with our agreements with our funding jurisdictions, but I think it's really, how do you ensure that values are maintained? I think that's really a matter of organizational culture. And I don't think I've ever met someone in community media that's in it for the money. It's not like we're all paid well. So the thing that keeps us there ultimately is a passion and a deep belief in access, and a deep belief in providing services to the underserved and democratizing the resource of communication technology in the first place. So, barring corruption within the organization, I think the mission and having programs that are aligned with that mission helps serve the purpose of maintaining integrity. Yeah.
I have a question about the Roku, because we're thinking about that as well. So how do people pay for a subscription to your Roku? Is it free?
No.
And have you seen, what have you seen as far as viewership?
Yeah, so we're actually still trying to work out the metrics piece, right?
You can actually look at the Roku developer site, and on that page it'll tell you how many times people have accessed the file. And I haven't quite figured out how to digest that information yet and what it really means, but it does tell you something.
And then as far as whether it's paid, it's so people buy the Roku box or the Roku television or stick, and it is like Apple TV. It's not a subscription-based service, so it you.
Some channels you can pay a little extra.
Yeah.
On there, but some of them are free.
Yeah, we don't charge for that, and developing our channel didn't cost anything. At least in terms of building out the interface for the TCMedia channel. We used a service called Instant TV Channel, and it's sort of this plug-and-play tool that someone with limited web development experience can use to create a Roku channel. And it does have some kind of obnoxious features and ads that we're trying to work around, and we may end up scrapping it and moving with something else, but we don't have any real direct plans on changing anything. The cost, we do have a cost associated with accessing the file, and we have a grant through TechSoup that gives us hosting on Amazon Web Services. And Andrew, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, about the last thing you were saying. You just said the TechSoup thing, and I completely forgot what we were talking about. But can you backtrack for a second?
Yeah.
What were we just talking about before the TechSoup
cost associated.
Oh, right, yeah. So once we move over to our new playback system, it's going to actually do 90% of the Roku work for us, including eliminating the instant TV channel as a thing that you'd have to do. And then in that case, we're just paying for the cloud space and for our own server space.
So the cloud space is on Amazon?
Ours is right now. Once we switch over to a new system, it might be with the provider of the system.
And those playback systems that are in our vending hall there, they have over-the-top service. So go ahead and take a look at those features that each vendor has and see what fits for you. So I think we're out of time. So thank you so much.
Thank you. We got to get a selfie here. For
Okay.
LinkedIn
do you want to
or
like
something,
do this,
you know?
like wave like in the background?